When you have consistent communication that provides clarity, you are setting yourself up for a winning culture. Hey, welcome to the Insurance Buzz. We are your hosts, Michael and Courtney Weaver, and today we are going to be breaking down what a daily huddle is, how many daily huddles you should be having every single day with your team, and why you should be having daily huddles.
I love that we were talking about this, especially as we're getting towards the end of the year, because so much of our focus is on people. We are really looking at how do we pour into people? How do we get more out of people? Where am I dropping the ball as a leader? And I think the daily huddle is something that is overlooked, but it is so powerful, whether you're leading an in-person team or a remote team. This is really where I see culture being built with a remote team. So we're going to break down the daily huddle.
Well, it's because it's you just hit the nail on the head. It's because it's consistent. It's daily communication around what's most important. How are you going to win your day? And so when you think about the why behind a daily huddle is number one, consistency of communication. Number two, you're going to build that culture because you're getting together every single day. And number three, you're going to provide clarity. Everyone is going to commit to what they're doing that day to win the day. So when you have consistent communication that provides clarity, you are setting yourself up for a winning culture.
I actually just had this image when you were talking about this, because so much of us in this space, entrepreneurship, are working towards the CEO role. And that's really leadership and holding people accountable. And I had this image, and maybe it's because we just went to Kentucky, but so much of an entrepreneur is really being the jockey. It's taking the horse where you want it to go and putting its blinders on so it's not distracted. And I think especially in the insurance space, your job as a leader is to keep your team focused and keep them clear on what they need to be doing day in and day out. And I have said this before, and I'll say this again, the most clear agencies are the ones that are winning.
Oh, yeah.
The focus that when they're like, okay, this is what we are focused on. This is what we are pouring our energy. We talk about this a lot. This is where we are pouring our life force.
Yep.
That area can't help but expand.
Yep.
Where energy goes, what does that say?
Where energy
goes, money flows.
Yep.
I just made that up.
So.
And I'm
I
gonna
like
go
it,
with it.
I like that. Trademark that. Let's do that.
Okay, so let's talk about the daily huddle.
Yeah, so we know the why behind it now. So what is a daily huddle? So a daily huddle is where you are meeting as a team, as a unit, doesn't matter, in person, remote, we're all getting together 2 times a day. The very first huddle of the day is going to be in the morning before the day gets started. And it's going to roughly be about 15 minutes, depending on your team size. And in this first daily huddle, this is where we are committing to, this is what we're going to do today to win the day. So, for example, number one, maybe it's like a big 3. So what are the big 3 things that they're focused on? Is it an X amount of conversations? Is it an X amount of production submitted? Is it an X amount of Google reviews asked for? So number one, having clarity in what their expectation is every single day. Once you know that, they're going to communicate. Well, hey, here's how I'm going to accomplish my 3 quotes today. Here's how I'm going to accomplish my 3 Google review asks today. Here's how I'm going to accomplish my 3 life insurance conversations for the day. So they're going to tell you, so as a producer, as a licensed sales producer, you're going to be communicating to everyone in the agency, hey, this is what I've got in the works today. This is how I'm going to win the day today. And everyone's going to commit to that. So everyone's going to go around saying what they've got in the works for the day and how they're going to win the day today.
And you also brought up the third element is when you commit to that, it's also committing where they're going to need support. So if they're going into strategic time blocks, or if they keep getting hung up on this objection, like where do they need help?
Absolutely.
What are they focused on?
Yep.
How are they getting there?
Yep.
And where they need support.
That's right.
Oh, so good.
That's right. So it's truly just a team accountability meeting every single day, 2 times a day, around clarity, around consistent communication, around what's important, what are you focused on, how can we support each other?
I love that you're bringing this up too, because as the leader, if my team is communicating what, how, and where, I know that I am coaching to those things all day long.
Not only coaching, but also know where to hold them accountable to.
So good. Okay, so the phones there are no phones, no distractions. This is 15 minutes of
This is before
locked
the
and
day
loaded.
gets started.
Okay.
Yeah, because here we go. Your first conversation of the day shouldn't be with a customer. And before you even have that first conversation of the day with a prospect or customer, you need to be talking to your team. You need to be meeting with your team. So the daily huddle, although we're not talking about role playing, what I would encourage is either before or after the daily huddle, hey, let's do a couple practice role play conversations before we get on the phone. But more importantly, this is going to provide clarity going into the day. Like, how am I going to win my day? Instead of just coming in at 8:58, phones unroll at 9 o'clock, you're turning your computer on, phones start ringing off the hook, and you start your day already flustered, frustrated, anxiety before you even know what the day consists of.
Oh, this is so good. Because to me, this is like, I have this image of that you're in like a factory and you're on an assembly line. And that, like, when they turn the assembly line on, it's like, and it's just mass chaos. Imagine trying to have a team meeting when that factory line is like, boo, boo, boo.
Yep.
And you're trying to talk over and go, this is what we're focused on today.
Yep.
It doesn't work.
Even more importantly, let's pretend like you don't even have a team meeting.
Oh, we're just going for it. Turn it on. Turn on the phones. Turn on the computers. Let's go.
Yes.
So you need that 15 minutes
You need
to
this
gather.
structured clarity, consistent. This is going to provide confidence. This is going to make sure everybody's on the same page. Before the day even gets started, we all know what we are focused on today and how each other are going to win the day and how we can support each other.
I love that you say 15 minutes because we talk about this in Weaver Sales Academy a lot. This is where the training goes.
Yeah.
Like, if you have 15 minutes, we're going to watch a few overcoming objections. We're going to learn how to overcome the price objection in the close for life insurance. Here we go. Boom.
Yep.
We're going to practice.
15 minutes of daily training. So like what we did in our agency, so we would do 15 minutes of sales training every single day from 8:30 to 8:45. And then from 8:45 to 9 was our very first team huddle of the day. So we'd go straight from sales training, straight to huddle. So we go straight from development and getting better to straight, hey, communication, clarity. How are we going to win the day today? How are we going to put into action what we just practiced?
Okay, so what's the difference between, because we started at 3 huddles and that was too much. So we just went to 2 huddles a day.
Yep.
So what's the difference between the first huddle and the second huddle of the day?
Yeah, so the second huddle of the day, you want to think of it as accountability. So the first one is more clarity of conversation around what are we focused on today? How are we going to win the day? Who are my hot leads? The second meeting of the day, we always like to have right after lunch. So around that 12:30, 1 o'clock time frame. And it was are you done with those big 3 yet? So have you won the day yet? Have you got your quotes in? Have you got your life insurance conversations in? Have you got your Google review links sent out? And if you haven't, that's fine. What's the plan to make sure that when 5 o'clock gets here, 6 o'clock gets here, 7 o'clock gets here, that they still aren't done? So number one, have you accomplished them? If you haven't, how can we be of support to you? And what is the plan moving forward between 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock to ensure that you get your big 3 done for the day, or whatever your goal or task is, whatever you communicated and whatever you committed to in that first daily huddle? How are you going to make sure that you get it done before the end of the day?
I love that we're breaking it down at the before the day starts and the midday, because one of the biggest things that I have found that helps in motivation and production is to front load things. Tony Robbins talks about this a lot, doing the hardest things first, because that builds confidence. It gets you a win. It gets out of your brain space. So I love that we're talking about this before we even get started. We're going to tackle, like, what's the hardest thing? We're going to we're going to front load our day. We're going to get that. We're going to knock that out. Midday, we're going to check in and say, okay, where are we at? What's going on? We used to do an end of the day huddle, and it was too much. Everyone's ready
We
to
got bad feedback from our team. We're like,
they're like, I'm ready to get
they're
out.
like, this is too much, man.
If I had to change it now, after years of going through this process, I would implement, if we had this is an in-person team, we do it a lot with our remote team too. What was the best thing that happened to you today? That's what I would put at the end of the day.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would have the before. We're really going to set the tone and the intention of the day, what we're focused on. Midday, how do we need some elevated support? Or maybe we've already crushed it. Now we're at the cherry on top.
Yep.
And then at the end of the day, it's, okay, let's reflect on what was the best thing. I just got goosebumps.
I love that.
What was the best thing that happened? Because so much of again, the factory line image is it's really chaotic in an insurance agency. There's a lot of things that are happening. And if you don't slow it down and go, ooh, it's really easy to get burnt out and to focus on all of the problems if we're not reflecting on what's going well.
I was just going to say this is such a great idea because so many times in the insurance industry, you're dealing with bad conversations, claims going sideways, rate increase calls. And so this question at the end of the day, much like me and you are always at the end of the day, like that's the one question, what was the best part about your day? So by asking your team this and each other this is going to make you, number one, replay the entire day. But number two, it's going to reframe your mindset of focusing on the bad to focusing on the good. Has nothing to do with did you get your production submitted? Nothing to do with that. It's what was the best part about your day.
And for me, I'm always trying to prime my brain for optimism, for happiness, for joy. I'm trying to constantly look through that and go through that lens of like, okay, what really was the best thing that happened? And I think also in doing this, you're priming your brain to transition from work to home. And so many of us have a hard time really making that shift. And it's, this was a great part about today, closing the chapter. I'm going home. I'm going to see my family. I'm going to put my sweats on, my soft clothes. I'm going to watch 10 episodes of whatever on Netflix, whatever that is. It's that putting the bow on the day. I'm such a nerd too. I also like to look back and the things that I continually say is the best part about my day. I'm paying attention to that because I'm trying to stack more of that in my day to where at the end of it, I go, whew, this whole day was great. Cause I have awareness and intention on what makes my day great and trying to build more of that.
I love that idea.
Thanks.
I love that idea. So that is the Daily Huddles.
This is the Daily Huddle. I would love to hear your feedback, especially as we're focusing on people and having people help build our businesses. What's your feedback from the Daily Huddle? Is there something that you're doing that you have found makes a huge difference in your 15 minutes? We'd love to hear it. 816-727-7610. Shoot us a text. And go implement this. Like implement the Daily Huddle and see how this impacts your business, your coaching, and your leadership.
Immediate impact. Immediate positive impact because everybody's on the same page every single day and everybody's in each other's corner wanting each other to win and knowing exactly how to support each other.
Can I give a tip?
Yeah.
As we sign off of this episode. Just like everything else, when you're trying something new, give it time. We are overly optimistic on how quickly people adapt to change, and I want to remind you to give it time. Let this marinate. Be consistent to this process for at least 90 days. Pick 3 months and go, okay, for the next 90 days, I have nothing to lose and everything to gain. That's the mindset we're going to go into with this. I have nothing to lose and everything to gain. I'm going to implement 2 daily huddles a day. You have 30 minutes. I know you have 30 minutes in your day. Okay? Implement it for the next 90 days and let us know what happens.
I already know what's going to happen. We're going to have a production increase, baby. Everybody's going to be on the same
energy
page.
Flows,
Everybody's going to be happy.
Money grows,
That's right.
baby.
Thank you so much for tuning in the Buzz today, whether it's on the podcast or it's on YouTube. We appreciate you so much. And as always, time and attention are by far our most important assets. We truly do appreciate you spending time with us on the Buzz. Go out, make it great.